Good morning, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Welcome to Special Report for Thursday, August the 6th, also known as Baby Friday. I'd like to thank KC Securities for your sponsorship. I'm Chris Olcorn, and I'm here with my co-host,
Daniel LaPrade. Weather Daniel is here once again. How is everyone doing today? How are you, Chris?
I'm doing okay. It's a little chilly this morning. Not exactly what I expect for August, but, well, nothing we can do about it. Okay, so we are waiting for Doug Ford today at 1 o'clock. He'll be on with Christine Elliott, who's the Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, and also Jill Dunlop, who's the Associate Minister of Children and Women's Issues. This press conference will be at 1 p.m., which we'll have for you here on Special Report, and they'll be coming from Queen's Park on that.
Oh, so he's not on the road again this time?
No, not today. He's still in Queen's Park for the time being, There's we'll get to it a little bit later in the show, but there's obviously some issues with regards going back to school. A lot of people are concerned about that, and he's trying, over the last few days, they've tried to sort of calm parents' fears on that. We talked about this a couple of days ago.
And he's standing firm on his decision with the schools. And
we're seeing that, in some areas it's obviously a lot more concerning to say send your kids to school in versus other areas. I mean, like right now in Algoma District, we have no positive cases of COVID-19 that we know of. There's obviously possibly people walking around who are asymptomatic, but we don't have any sort of outbreaks going on here. Meanwhile, there's been a bit of an outbreak in Ottawa. There's continuing stage 2 in Windsor, Essex. Toronto and Peel are still getting more than 5 new cases a day. Just yesterday, 16 of our 34 public health units had 0 new cases. So there are parts of this province where parents don't need to be as concerned as other areas. I know if I was a parent here in Sault Ste. Marie, I feel pretty comfortable sending my kid to school here, particularly if they're doing social distancing. You got kids 10 and up wearing masks, 10 and under wearing a mask is optional. There is a lot of things they're doing to make kids safe.
And you know what? We have to look at some of the other provinces that have opened their schools prior, Quebec, British Columbia as well. And then what the other provinces are planning to do for the fall, right? And each province is different. So I know the federal government is coming out with some guidelines too. This Friday, and they're just so there's some recommendations. So because each province will be different.
Theresa Tam, our chief medical officer, she is going to come out with the guidance from the federal government. Obviously, in matters of education and health, that's actually a provincial jurisdiction, but the federal government can make recommendations. In an emergency situation, when they use the Emergency Powers Act, they can actually supersede a provincial government if they want to. It almost has never happened because it was actually put in after World War II in case there was another World War, basically.
Right, it wasn't used for this case.
It hasn't really been used in any sort of overstepping, taking power away from the provinces yet, since it's ever been created. So, but the interesting thing here going forward will be when Quebec took part of their province and put the kids back into school, they did see some outbreaks. They had one public school that they had to shut down for a couple days because there was an outbreak. Outbreak being defined as 3 or more in a facility testing positive. It was a small outbreak. I believe in total they only saw about 45 cases for the area that they opened to the province, which was basically everywhere but Montreal.
They kept Montreal
closed, separate, kind of like the way we did a staged reopening here with Toronto and Peel, which is basically Toronto and Mississauga, where certain parts of the province had way lower cases, so they moved to stage 2 and stage 3 faster. Same thing happened with education in Quebec. Montreal had the outbreak, other areas did not. So they did see a few cases, but if you think about how many kids get sick on a daily basis.
And we got 2 million kids in this province.
Yeah, and we got 2 million kids too. Right. And you think of how many kids are off school every day sick with different things. Only having about 45 or so cases opening the Quebec school system was probably near best case scenario. You can't get something down to 0 at all. It's
exactly,
impossible.
You can't. And you know what? Somebody had to take the lead and do something and try something, right? And be the guinea pig, unfortunately. I hate to use that term, but one province will take the reins and do something. This is how it usually works in government, right? And other governments will follow suit or model it after what another province is doing, right?
We've seen, for example, BC and Alberta opened faster than Ontario did.
They did,
Quebec had, on a per capita basis, Quebec had the most cases of any province in Canada. Even when they reopened their schools, they were still higher than everybody else. But once again, those numbers were very concentrated in certain areas.
Yes.
So, I mean, if I was a parent in Toronto, maybe I might think twice about it. If I was in Windsor, Essex, I'd definitely be thinking twice about it. I think I might start my kid remotely learning at the beginning of the year. But as far as the rest of the province goes, if you look at what happened in Quebec, keeping in mind too that right now, like about over 60% of all our cases are with people under the age of 39.
Now we're starting to see that,
because
as opposed to the older.
The people who were all in lockdown are now out and going about, and they're getting ill. However, if you notice, and this is actually a good trend, our death rate is very, very low. Like how many deaths we're having on a daily basis now. Some days it's even zero. And a lot of it has to do with younger people don't have confounding health problems. They don't have lung cancer or some of the other things. That is one of the reasons why the older population in Canada in particular was particularly hit really hard.
Because they have those underlying conditions.
They had, like to get into a nursing home, you usually have two major conditions to be able to get into a nursing home in the first place. So we're now seeing younger people who are healthier, don't have those issues yet, get COVID-19, so they're able to fight back against it. Their system is better than someone who has other health problems.
Right.
So
in order to stay
healthy
and keep yourself
you need to be using the correct hand sanitizer.
So Health Canada is recalling more than 50 hand sanitizers in this evolving list, right? And so there's unacceptable types of ethanol, or I don't even know how to say that
it's
word.
It's called a denaturant, which is actually not supposed to be put into hand sanitizer. It's like a filler that actually makes the hand sanitizer
right.
It's basically not for human use, period, ever. It gives you rashes, eye problems. It can even cause you respiratory problems. And some of these hand sanitizers actually have this denaturant stuff
and they can make possible reactions include skin irritation, eye irritation, upper respiratory system irritation, and headaches. And this is the problem when you're having so many people manufacturing hand sanitizers now that may not have been approved. And I mean, I hate hand sanitizer. I do not use it if I don't have to. I wash my hands. It leaves my hands feeling worse than it ever is. But in my line of work, when I'm not doing security, I have to use sanitizer because we don't always have,
And Health Canada and Ontario Health both recommend that washing your hands is actually more effective than the hand sanitizer. That's the best way
if you can do that.
But I mean, every little bit helps. But it's very difficult to think that 51 different hand sanitizers right now are being recalled because they were not manufactured correctly, meeting Canadian standards.
Yes.
And that many actually made it into the country without being tested, and these products are actually on the shelves.
And people are buying them.
Yeah, and people are actually buying them. So the actual list, there's 51 on the list. You can go to SiouxOnline.com, click on the hand sanitizer article. There's a link there that's an updated list. It's 51 on it as of a few minutes ago, but it's the updated list the government has of hand sanitizers you shouldn't use and take back. If you have any irritation at all from it, whether skin, eye, lung, please go to your doctor immediately is the advice that they're giving. We've been dealing with the story for a couple days. That massive explosion in Beirut, it literally decimated the port and surrounding areas. Over 300,000 people are now homeless from this. Right now, the death toll officially is about a little over 130, but there's still hundreds and hundreds of people missing. The hospitals are obviously overwhelmed. This happened right when they were starting to get a spike in COVID-19 cases as well, and now people are going all over the place because their homes are gone, like just flattened. I mean,
flattened.
You had an
windows,
apartment building, and now it's just rubble. The hospitals are being overrun. You're now going to see a live view on your screen, and
still all kinds of debris
still
and
smoking, and
that scene is reminiscent of New York during 9/11, right, where everything was dust and debris, and to have to go through that. Canada is committing some funding.
Yes, we're going to give $5 million. Philippe, we're giving $5 million to Lebanon. So far, we've given 1.5 has already been released, and we will be giving, that was to the Lebanon Red Cross.
Right.
So 1.5 went to them. The other 3.5 was going to other charities and or the government in Lebanon to help deal with the crisis. But that's from the federal government. And according to Global Affairs, only one Canadian has gone to the consulate with regards to having been involved with the explosion. So only one Canadian was involved in that we know of so far. So yeah.
And it is going to take some time.
It will, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get into your weather here. You're going to see on the live view, which is sponsored. You might have saw me look over at the monitor because I'm wondering what was on the TV screen there. And
that is one heck. What are we looking at, producer Mike? Like, where's that camera pointed out of curiosity? Because we're not really sure.
It's facing, if it's the same as yesterday, it would be facing the Delta and the pavilion, overlooking towards the bridge, and that's how foggy
I can totally
it is.
See that, yeah, definitely.
And there was some mist on my way here. You think
there's a little mist?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Looks a little misty. Yeah, just a smidge.
Yeah, and so that's not what's going to be happening all day, everyone. So don't worry about that. This camera is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. Check them out online.
And Canadian Fog as well.
And Canadian Fog. So I'll have your full details for the day as well as the next 3 days and your regional temperatures coming up, and the sun will be back, so don't you worry. We'll be right back after this break.
That's a great photo.
Did you know that 1 in 3 people are affected by fire in their lifetime? Or that 1 in 3 fire deaths happen in homes with no working smoke alarms? You may have just seconds to safely escape a fire in your home. That's why early detection of fire is absolutely vital. Only working smoke alarms provide those precious seconds you and your family need to safely escape. Install smoke alarms on every story and outside all sleeping areas of your home. For added protection, install a smoke alarm in every bedroom. Test smoke alarms monthly by pressing the test button. If the alarm doesn't sound, install a new battery. Replace alarm batteries at least once a year and whenever the low battery warning chirps. And if the alarm still doesn't sound, replace the alarm with a new one. Smoke alarms have an expiry date. Remember to check the back of the smoke alarm for dates of manufacture. Replacement is within the time frame on the manufacturer's instructions. In most cases, 7 to 10 years. Always replace expired alarms. Remember, it's the law in Ontario to have working smoke alarms on every story of your home and outside all sleeping areas. Failure to comply with the Ontario Fire Code requirements could result in a fine or even jail time. So protect yourself and your loved ones by ensuring that all your smoke alarms are functional and up to code. For more fire safety information, please visit www.saultsaintmarie.ca/firesafe.
Welcome back to special report for Thursday, August the 6th, brought to you by KC Securities. So that was quite the camera we had this morning pointing at downtown. As you can see, a very clear day there. That's probably the most foggiest I've ever seen a camera before. So that was kind of fun. I got to say good morning on Facebook shoutouts to Juliana, Karen, Nancy, and Giselle. Thank you all very much for watching this morning. If you want us to say good morning to you on the air, you can do so on our Facebook chat. You can also post in birthdays, anniversaries, and other special occasions you'd like us to mention while we're live on air. The Facebook chat is the only chat we actually see while we're live on the air, so if you want to interact with us during the show, that's how you do it. Alrighty, Dan, what's going on for the next 3 days?
Thank you very much, Chris, and good morning, everyone. And yes, a reminder to also please like and share us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Twitter. All that can be found at SiouxOnline.com, where you just click on that. Special birthday shout out. My grandma is 80 today. It's her birthday. I was there on Monday in Elliott Lake when you saw with that weather watcher photo I took. So I celebrated it then with her. So happy birthday, Grandma. Hopefully you enjoy the day up there. All right, so we'll get into the radar. Again, not much going on. We got high pressure kind of moved in further. Yesterday we had the low pressure was still moving through. High pressure down here. There's a low over here, down over Kansas, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We've got basically high pressure over top of us, a few clouds. Not much else to report until later on in the weekend, but that's not in the that's not an immediate 3 days, so we should be good for the next little bit. There you go on the screen, you can see it zoomed out. There is lots of high pressure. All right, so getting into your temperatures and your expected highs for today. And by the way, it did say on my report before we went live to air that our condition was mist and fog. So Environment Canada was on the ball with that. That fog did roll in and they were reporting it right away. So 28 degrees the expected high in Thunder Bay. Wawa 23, cool spot once again. Timmins 26, 27 here in Sault Ste. Marie. 25 in Elliott Lake for Grandma. 26 in Sudbury. And your expected lows, Thunder Bay 16 overnight, 14 in Wawa, 15 in Timmins, as well as here in Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury, and then 14 degrees in Elliott Lake overnight. So we're going to get that heat coming back, but we are seeing the relief at night. Currently sitting at 14, as mentioned, fog and misty. You may not see where you're going. A high of 27 degrees today with the humidex of about 30. So we are getting back into that heat, but we're not seeing extreme humidex today. The UV index is up to about 8. So have your sunscreen if you are out when the sun does come out and burns off the fog. Winds are still 10 kilometers from the northwest, so that's a cool breeze. Yesterday it was breezy as well in the afternoon. And we will see a low of 15 degrees overnight, as mentioned, so it will be very comfortable. Friday's looking pretty good to start your weekend. Good day if you are off and you want to go to the beach or go out for a walk, go to the park. 27 degrees. Again, UV index will be up there, and there's be a bit of humidity, but nothing like when we were in the 30-degree range. 16 overnight, 29 on Saturday with a few clouds. This is where we start to see a change as we get into Sunday, which is a high of 27 on Sunday. We have a chance of a thunderstorm and a shower. And then we're seeing the lows overnight kind of warm back up to 18 degrees, which means we're going to start seeing, you're not going to get as much relief on those days. And then coming up in your 7-day, I'll have some details. We kind of got a mixed bag for a couple days. And then I'll also have your Weather Watcher photo coming up. So I'm going to send it back over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I greatly appreciate you letting us know what's going to be happening over the weekend. Yesterday we received a message from the Sault Ste. Marie paramedics. One of the paramedics there is Sherry. She has been diagnosed with leukemia. And so the paramedics and the fire department and also some people from DSAB are all wearing orange shirts right now in support of Sherry. And so you're going to see a couple photos up there on the screen. And so they are basically trying to raise awareness about leukemia. So if you see them around town, just say hi to them, and you know that hopefully she'll be able to recover from this. They didn't give too much details on the actual on Sherry in terms of her treatment and so on. But yep. So we will be back in just 2 minutes. We're going to hit a commercial break. See you in a sec.
Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
And welcome back to Special Report for Thursday, August 6th. I want to say a good morning as well to Ineki on Facebook, who is watching our show and just joined. Thank you very much for tuning in. All right, so OPP are having some stuff
Busy
going
day
on.
yesterday,
Yeah,
yes.
in the Sault Spanish River area, which is normally a quiet area. So they have arrested a 45-year-old woman from Sable's Spanish Rivers Township and charged her with second-degree murder. Officers from the Manitoulin detachment of OPP responded to domestic disturbance at a residence in Massey, which is in Sable's Spanish Rivers Township, on Tuesday night. And a victim was found and transported by EMS to a local hospital. They were pronounced dead. A suspect has been remanded into custody, and the police said she is scheduled to appear in court in Sudbury at a later date, and the investigation is ongoing with conjunction with Ontario's chief coroner and the OPP's forensics identification service. So there's no concern for public safety, but we don't have any more details at this point. So
Yeah, and the lady's still in jail. She hasn't even been
that's right.
given a
She's still
bail
in jail.
here.
And we want to mention this because normally these areas are quiet and we don't normally have these kind of things going on. So
Yeah. Yesterday, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business came out with a survey of, they represent small and medium-sized businesses in Canada. 1 in 4 small businesses right now are doing normal sales levels. 60% are worried that consumer spending will remain low. They have 110,000 members across Canada, but they are saying this recovery is been very slow for a lot of businesses. And actually, Doug Ford keeps talking about, 99% of businesses are able to open now, but only 63% of small businesses are fully open now at this point. That's up 10% though from June to July, so there is an increase there. But only 39% are saying they're fully staffed again, and 26% are making normal sales. But there's a couple areas that have been really hit hard, particularly here locally for us. It's tourism.
Yes.
With international travel being very restricted and the borders being closed to anything but essential traffic, we've seen quite a hit here locally.
It's making it very difficult.
But what they are saying is that they're finding people are coming from local areas to do tourist stuff, whereas before they would see people like Americans, but instead, they're seeing people from Toronto and things like that. So the tourism industry this summer is much different than it normally is. And it's hopefully will improve over the next little while.
And there are people moving around, because when I went to Elliott Lake on Monday, the traffic was out of this world for a long weekend. So people are traveling within the province for sure, or from other provinces.
Yeah, but we got to hit a commercial break, so we will be back with the 7-day forecast in just 2 minutes. Hold tight.
What's life without making a few mistakes down the road? A few sharp turns. And doing things for what we adore, but might regret later. A trip to Chuck's Roadhouse isn't one of them. With melt-in-your-mouth AAA steaks, buttery lobster tail, half-priced apps after 9 p.m., an ice-cold draft with all your Roadhouse favorites. Chuck's Roadhouse. Food the way it ought to be, priced the way it used to.
A message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
And welcome back to Special Report for Thursday, August the 6th, also known as Baby Friday. Thank you very much, KC Securities, for your sponsorship. Now, we do have an updated forecast for you from our weather cam. It's things are starting to improve, apparently.
Yes, we do. So thank you again to wirelesscom.ca for the use of the camera here. And as you can see, oh, look at that.
It's
kind of rising.
Yeah,
the sun's coming in.
You can actually kind of see something now. Oh, look, you can see trees. Wow.
Wow, the sun's coming out. There's the tent in the background there.
Yeah, you see the pavilion there. Wow.
So, so the fog is clearing, and a couple drops on the camera there. So, and actually, we have a photo from this morning for a weather watcher. Sent in from the Hayden area. This is on Trout Lake, and this was actually the sun coming up through the fog over there. Wasn't as bad as you can see, but a beautiful shot sent in. So make sure you send in your photos to ontvweather@gmail.com. Include your name and where you're sending it from, and I will get that up on our Weather Watcher segment. So yeah, beautiful shot there with the sun coming up. All right, getting into the 7-day here. Friday and Saturday, you're going to see the sun come back, 27 degrees, 29 on Saturday. This is when it changes a little bit into Sunday and Monday. There's still some heat, but we might see a thunderstorm and some showers. But that will move through, and then we will see sun come back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 27 degrees, 26, and our lows are going to be bumping back up overnight to 16 to 18 degrees. So it'll be very comfortable. So, you know, this isn't really hockey weather, but you got some news about the OHL.
Yes, they plan to return to play on December the 1st, assuming that they can ensure the safety for the players, fans, staff, and the community where they're going to be playing, and attend the games safely. So over the next 4 months, the league is going to obviously watch what's happening with COVID-19. I think one of the reasons they're looking at December 1st, because at that point we'll know if there's a second wave or not.
Yes.
So they can plan for this. They're doing a slightly shortened season. They're going to do a 64-game schedule and a 16-team playoff format. So they are going to end the regular season at the end of April. This means they'll have time to do their playoffs in time for the Memorial Cup, which is supposed to be June 17 to 27. And it will actually be hosted by either the Oshawa Generals or the Sioux Greyhounds.
That's right.
Now, it is called the Ontario Hockey League, but they do have, obviously, American teams.
They do.
So one of the things that they're very concerned about is how are the players going to still go to school because they're still all in high school.
Well, that's the thing.
And then on top of that, Sioux Eagles on the American side, and then all the Canadian teams, have to go over to the American side to play.
Have to play over there.
What are they going to do there in terms of, they're going to have to work. They are still working with the Canadian government to figure out how that's going to operate. With regards to how the American teams will be able to participate.
Yeah.
How are they going to keep the athletes safe? Because not only do you have the athletes, like right now in the NHL, they're in a cocooned bubble that is basically in self-contained.
Right.
The OHL, because these are high school students and have to still go to school, it's much, much harder to do a bubble when you have them going to local high schools. So they're still working on how they're going to work all that out, but the tentative date for them to start is December the 1st.
And that's good. They're giving themselves lots of time.
Yeah, so, and they'll see if there's a second wave. We will be back at 1 o'clock with Doug Ford, Christine Elliott, and Jill Dunlop, and they'll be doing an announcement from Queen's Park. Have a good morning.
Have a good morning, everyone.